Hello and welcome back to the Fantasy Playmakers. What's up, guys? For today's video, I'm going to be going through my must-own or avoid rookie wide receivers. I did the same video yesterday with rookie running backs, and so now it's time to talk about the receivers. And I'm going to be talking about 5 guys today. It's going to be Ja'Marr Chase, Devonta Smith, Jaylen Waddle, Rashod Bateman, and Elijah Moore. If you guys are watching this video and find yourself enjoying the content, please just think about leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I would really appreciate it. And then let me know your thoughts down below. Which of these guys are you going to be avoiding or targeting this year for fantasy? And I'll get back to you as soon as I can. But let's get into it. The first wide receiver we're going to talk about is Ja'Marr Chase, who is currently being picked at wide receiver 20, which is a late 4th round pick. And I really like Chase as a wide receiver prospect. And I honestly think he's going to have a great NFL career. But I just can't be picking him ahead of guys like Cooper Kupp, Tyler Lockett, and Deontay Johnson. It's really tough to predict Ja'Marr Chase's 2021 fantasy production because it's pretty tough to produce as a wide receiver 2 in fantasy when you're a rookie, but then you also just can't argue against how good of a prospect Ja'Marr Chase is. He was literally better than Justin Jefferson in college and was a year younger than him. And then we saw Justin Jefferson come into the league and finish as a wide receiver 1 as a rookie. So what does that say about Ja'Marr Chase? And so I really can't say that he doesn't have the potential to finish as a wide receiver 1 because we saw his college teammate, who he was better than at the time, accomplish that feat last year. He's also going to be going into a great situation playing with his college quarterback Joe Burrow on the Bengals. But it's just going to be hard to pick him this high without having seen him play. But I honestly can't argue against someone taking the risk because, it's possible that he busts, and finished outside the top 35 wide receivers. But in the same way, it's possible he absolutely balls out, takes over the number 1 spot in that Bengals offense, outperforms T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd, and finishes as a high-end wide receiver 2 or even a wide receiver 1. So I guess it really is just going to come down to how much you like Ja'Marr Chase as a prospect and how risk-averse you want to be with this pick. The way that I typically draft is I go running backs early. So, I want to get at least 2 or 3 running backs in the first 3 rounds. So, say I go running back, and then I'm here in the late 4th round picking a wide receiver. I'm not going to be going with Ja'Marr Chase because I really need that first wide receiver to hit. And, there's a lot of uncertainty there. But, maybe if I already have 2 wide receivers and then I'm going for my 3rd one, maybe then you take a risk with Ja'Marr Chase. It's really up to how you view him. Next up, it's Devonta Smith, who is being selected as the wide receiver 33, which is a 7th round draft pick. And if I was picking Devonta Smith, I would like to grab him just a little bit later, but I do think this ADP is fair. Of this rookie wide receiver class, Devonta Smith could easily have the best chance at being a day 1 wide receiver 1 on his team, and that really just comes down to the Eagles desperately needing weapons to throw to. He's going to be competing with Jalen Reagor and Travis Fulgham, and is already probably the most talented wide receiver on that roster. You're going to have Dallas Goedert at tight end. But, Smith and Goddard are probably going to be the top options. And, this may not be a great overall passing offense, but I think Smith could definitely see value as a volume wide receiver, especially if he's going to be the number 1. And so you could definitely go with some safer, more proven options at wide receiver in this range. Maybe a guy like Tyler Boyd, who's probably going to see a decent amount of volume, or Jerry Jeudy, who had a decent rookie season. But I honestly think I would rather go with Smith here over some of those guys with low ceilings, just because he does have some pretty solid upside this year. Jaylen Waddle is up next here, and he is going as wide receiver 46, which is a 9th round pick. And of the Miami Dolphins receivers, I really think Devontae Parker is the clear number 3 in this offense. So it's really going to be Jaylen Waddle and Will Fuller as the 1 and 2. And so overall, I think Will Fuller is the more talented, better wide receiver. We saw it last year on the Texans. Will Fuller was a beast. He was a fantasy wide receiver 1 and a solid wide receiver 1, so you can't take that away from him. But I think Jaylen Waddle is a much better fit into this offense. Jaylen Waddle is able to operate as a big play threat using his ability to run after the catch. He's a yak monster, and Tua likes to get the ball out early. He didn't really want to push the ball downfield last year, and pushing the ball downfield would benefit Fuller. But if he's getting the ball out quickly, that definitely meshes well with Jaylen Waddle. and he also has experience playing with Tua at Alabama, so that should definitely give him a leg up this year as well. It'll help him acclimate to this Dolphins offense a little bit quicker than, he might have otherwise. But I like this price for him because here in the 9th round, there's really not a ton of risk. At this ADP, there's pretty much a dead zone at wide receiver, which does make Waddle a pretty solid option here. Now we have Rashod Bateman, who is being selected as wide receiver 56, and that is an 11th round pick, and he's one of my favorite late round targets. I've talked about this in a lot of videos. I've picked him up in 2 of my mock drafts, and I talked about him as a must-own rookie. I really like him, going this late in drafts, and he's just an all-around solid wide receiver. He can win short, he can win deep, he can really play wherever you want him to, which is really solid, when he's coming into a new offense. They can really use him wherever. And the Ravens also are going to have a high-scoring offense. Even if a lot of it is through the run game, you still want to have a lot of touchdown opportunity. And I think they're also going to be looking to up their passing attack. They're not drafting Rashod Bateman in the 1st round, for him to sit there and get 50 targets a year. They're going to be using him. They obviously want to pass the ball more, become a less predictable offense overall. If you're able to balance Lamar Jackson's passing with his rushing, it's going to be really dangerous. And so Rashod Bateman is going to have the opportunity to come in and take over on day 1, which is not something that's common for wide receivers this late in drafts. The last player I'm going to talk about is Elijah Moore, who's currently being drafted as the wide receiver 58, just a little bit after Rashod Bateman, and he's also going as an 11th round pick. And I think he's another decent late round wide receiver pick. Just like Rashod Bateman, Elijah Moore is going to have the opportunity to step in and be the wide receiver 1 on this Jets team. It's definitely not great news that Crowder is going to be back with the Jets, because he's likely going to be a target hog. And you do just kind of have a lot of other cooks in the kitchen in this wide receiver room. They've signed Corey Davis. There's also Denzel Mims there. So, it could be a long shot that Elijah Moore breaks out, but he still has the opportunity to overachieve at this ADP, which is very low. And so I don't really like him anywhere near as much as I like Rashod Bateman. But, I wouldn't argue against taking him if you really like his talent. I just don't know how high the ceiling is of the Jets offense this year. I like them in the long run, but I just don't know if Elijah Moore's ever going to be a guy you actually want to be plugging into your lineups this year. But this late in drafts, you're not going to have a lot of guys who even have that potential. So Elijah Moore, decent late round pick here as wide receiver 58. All right, so that is all the rookie wide receivers I'm going to be talking about today. Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. If you guys enjoyed the content, please just make sure you leave a like and subscribe. And then also let me know your thoughts down below. But that's all I have for you guys today. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.